A cosmic war is about to break out in the Marvel Universe as emperors are being assassinated. This is Imperial, a new series for Marvel Comics. Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Imperial number 1. This is a new book from Marvel Comics. This is written by Jonathan Hickman with art by Iban Coelho and Federico Vincentini, colors by Federico Blee, letters by Corey Petit. We have a beautiful cover by Marco Cicchetto and Marte Gracia for the main cover. This is a very, very interesting story. So let me give you a quick synopsis, then we'll get into some of the stuff that happened, and I'll talk more about this new Marvel event. Marvel presents a sweeping Marvel cosmic event, Imperial, a story of intrigue, mysteries, and war, which takes place against the backdrop of the formation of a new galactic order in the Marvel Universe, featuring Hulks, Black Panthers, Novas, Guardians, Cosmic Kings and Queens. It is a must-read book of the summer. And let me tell you, I am very, very intrigued, especially after this first issue. I really love the way that Jonathan Hickman is kind of setting this up as a big, gigantic space opera, almost feels like. This broken up into 4 different chapters, and we arrive back in New Sakaar, the new planet. After, of course, if you remember from Planet Hulk, after the destruction of all that, where the Hulk's son has been assassinated. Now he is an emperor of this planet, and is now in charge of all this and in charge of all these people, and also part of this new galactic alliance. But as after his assassination, the Hulk, Jen Walters, and Amadeus Cho, they all show up as the World Breaker returns to Sakaar. And it just kicks off a whole sequence of events. We end up finding out that there are other emperors that have been assassinated, but we don't know who or why. And the story just kind of evolves from there. It's really cool. We get to see a lot of characters from the Marvel Cosmic, like Peter Quill. We get to see Richard Rider Nova. We get to see, of course, the Shi'ar, the Skrulls, the Kree, like everyone that you're usually involved with. So after the events of Empire, things seem to be a little bit stable in the Marvel universe. I wouldn't say you have to read Empire for this to make sense, but it does give you a picture of what's going on in the cosmic side of things in Marvel universe. But this is just kind of like a big murder mystery involved with a big war. There's definitely some forces in the shadows kind of pulling all the strings, and this is very clear in the first opening pages and the closing of the book, which I think Jonathan Hickman's really good at, planting a mystery, planting some seeds. So I really like that. Now, as far as artists, I think Ivan Coelho and Federico Vincentini do such a bang up job. This is an oversized book. It's about 50 pages long. So you're definitely getting a lot of story, a lot of big setup. Like I mentioned, this is broken up into chapters. But whether it's a scene of the Hulks arriving on the planet, which the art team is just, they did some really cool designs or redesigns for a lot of these characters. I think Amadeus Cho as Brawn looks great, very different from Hulk. And then of course Jen Walters, they have to dress all kind of like in the Sakaar formal attire as they are ambassadors to this planet. And then just seeing all these alien races and everything that's going on. I think the Marvel Cosmic has always invited a lot of room for artists to really just go all out with design and creativity. And then, of course, we have these massive action sequences, but also these more like slower political scenes that are evolving where people are just talking and the tension kind of builds. And I think it's all done very, very well by the team. I'm very interested in what happens because we get to see a lot of people be taken out. There's a lot of tension here. If you're familiar with the Marvel Cosmic, you know that it feels like they're always on the verge of a new war because of all these uneasy alliances and these treaties that they have. But I think there's a surprising factor that comes into this. I was not aware that the Wakandans, the Black Panthers, had acquired or amassed so much power in the recent years because of the vibranium that they control, and how important that is for travel in space. So it's a really interesting addition to this, right? You don't have to be too familiar with any of it. I think Jonathan Hickman does a really good job at bringing in this world, building it, and filling you in on all the details that you need to know. I wouldn't even know what to recommend to read other than Empire, which, like I said, that's the last big cosmic Marvel event that sets up a lot of those things. So um, I highly encourage you to check this out. Read number one, see if it's for you. I'm going to read number two to figure out if this is something that I want to read month to month, because it's pretty dense. There's a lot of story packed into this, which I love. But sometimes reading a lot of story month to month does get a little bit. I kind of lose a thread because there's so many other things that I'm reading. But I'll let you know what I think about this. But I'm very excited for Imperial. I think doing these videos really helps me retain a lot of that information as well, and just like all the cameos and all the people, like I love events like this where they just kind of bring in a lot of people that maybe you don't get to read on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis. So that's a lot of fun. But yeah, it's always fun to kind of travel back to the Marvel Cosmic. And then, like I said, this book looks amazing. It looks beautiful, really cool designs. I think my favorite was probably the Hulk. Just has this new design, which you probably have seen or will see in the preview art that's running around in the video. It's fantastic stuff. Just this world breaker Hulk is back, and he's pissed, and he's got the long hair because that's the way that he's in his normal series right now. Incredible stuff. Highly, highly recommend and encourage you to check it out. So, if you have read Marvel Imperial, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Let me know what else you're reading for the week. What are some other stories that you enjoy from the Marvel Cosmic? Leave us a comment, and of course, make sure to subscribe, share, like, all those fun YouTube things, and stay tuned because we have a lot more comic reviews and a lot more stuff like movie reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Miles Morales, Spider-Man, finally goes back to the Ultimate Universe, but how have things changed for him, and why is he there in the first place? Is this more of the plans from the maker? Let's find out in Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion number 1. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion number 1. This is a new book from Marvel Comics, a new series, brand new to the Ultimate Universe. This is written by Dennis Camp and Cody Ziegler, which the respective writers of both the Ultimates and Miles Morales Spider-Man, with art by Jonas Scharf, colors by Edgar Delgado, and letters by Corey Petit. Beautiful cover by Sarah Pichelli and Tamara Von Villen, along with a plethora of variant covers. So, in this book, Miles Morales is caught in the middle of a universal collision. Two of today's most exciting writers, Dennis Camp and Cody Ziegler, join forces for an adventure that will change Miles Morales and the Ultimate Universe forever. This is very exciting. So, before the maker remade Earth 6160, which is the Ultimate Universe, he left Miles Morales the key to reach his new universe. When Miles' baby sister Billy uses it to travel inadvertently to the Ultimate Universe, it is up to Spider-Man to save her. But the Ultimate Universe is never safe for any Spider-Man. When Spot attacks, Miles has to team up with an all-new Peter Parker and his son Richard, and that's just the start of his journey across Earth 616. This book is around 32 pages, so you definitely get a lot of your story here. And it is such a fun romp. First of all, just the fact that you have Miles Morales meeting up with this Peter Parker, the Ultimate Peter Parker, and his son Richard, who's wearing the symbiote-like suit. There's some really fun stuff here. I love the idea that Richard looks up to Miles because he thinks he's so cool, right? Miles has all this experience that Peter doesn't really have in the Ultimate Universe. Peter's only been doing this for about 6 months, and it makes a lot of sense. So I really love the way that's written. I think that both Cody Ziegler and Dennis Camp really know these universes, really know the characters that they're involving, so they really capture their voices. There's always the looming threat of why did the maker leave that for Miles, right? I think the maker feels like him and Miles are tied in this way because they are the ultimate, they are the only survivors of that ultimate universe from so long ago. So they have this connection, and of course, Miles, he didn't want to go back, but circumstances kind of put him there. I think Spot is a really fun villain to kind of bring into this first issue, not only because in the movie kind of made him a little bit more relevant, but it's just a really fun power set. And then how will the Ultimates and the rest of the Ultimate Universe react to this? There's a lot of people, there's a lot of parties that are interested in the Maker's technology and his power and his weapons. So they all kind of react to this new incursion that we see in this issue. As far as the art, Sharf just does such a good job at capturing how dynamic the movements are from Miles. Really, the body language between all the Spider-Man is really, really interesting and really fun. It really plays out where Peter is a little bit intimidated by Miles. Richard is really just looking up to Miles as this like beacon of what the Spider-Man could be, and then of course Miles is just really worried about doing his own thing. One of the things that I really love is Richard comments on how freely and how loosely and how just cool Miles looks when he's swinging around. Whereas him and his dad, they haven't really been able to do it for so long, right? We have some great battles. We get some very cool cameos from all peoples from the Ultimate Universe. So it's a very well put together series, and I'm very excited. A lot of these things have been looming in the horizon for a long time now. If you've been reading the Ultimate Universe, and it was definitely time for Miles to come back home, sort of. This is a homecoming of sorts for Miles, so I appreciate that. So, really encourage you to check this out. This is just the kickoff of this new series. It feels like a little small crossover event. I think Miles will ultimately end up back in Earth 616 because he has such he's so anchored there now. But I love it, and it's really fun. I haven't been keeping up with the Miles Morales book, so it's really fun to see his powers again, because they are a little bit different, right? Even Richard comments on like Miles can become invisible and camouflage, where him and his dad can't. And then we get maybe the resolution or the we get the answer as to how there might be a new Venom in this Ultimate Universe. So a lot of fun stuff. These writers, this creative team really knows what they're doing. So highly encourage you to check this out. So if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Has John Stewart finally figured out the trick to getting out of this force field that surrounds his city? Let's talk about it in Absolute Green Lantern number 3. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Absolute Green Lantern number 3. This is a new book from DC Comics. I picked up the variant, but here you can see the main cover by January Lindsay. This continues to be an amazing, amazing story. Written by Al Ewing with art and colors by January Lindsay, letters by Lucas Gattoni. In this issue, we see Hal Jordan cursed. Hal Jordan has been overcome by his curse and has turned his sights on Joe. Can the new Green Lantern figure out how to hold her ground, or will her light be extinguished for good? Yeah, this book continues to just be everything that I want from a retelling, a new story in the Green Lantern mythos. We have a lot of familiar characters. We have a lot of really cool action. I think January Lindsay is such an appropriate artist for this because he can bring the dynamic fights, he can bring the big light show. He gives us these really interesting designs, especially with Insa Noor. Like it just everything kind of really clicks into place. And Al Ewing is telling this really cool sci-fi story that's a little bit part horror, a little bit part mystery, and it's all really on for every issue we learn a little bit more about this new Green Lantern power, but also about the power that Hal Jordan has, whatever this energy that just continues to try to extinguish and continues to try to consume everything. I'm really, really enjoying it. I think that there is something special about this book. Out of all the absolute power books, this one definitely. I mean, all the absolute books. This really feels the most out there when it comes to a sci-fi trope. I think Martian Manhunter is just the most out there period, but this one continues to deliver every episode. We learn a little bit more. The characters that we're starting to care about and work. We continue to work towards the present, remembering, as these people are being judged, as these people are being able to escape. We don't really know what the end game is, but we do know that they all have their motivations. And then, of course, we know that they're going to have to use all of their power to really bring this to a close. I think it's going to be a really fun revelation in the next few issues. But this one just really continues to tell a great story. Al Ewing is a great storyteller, and I think that it really shows in this book. So, very excited to see where we go from here. But if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about Absolute Green Lantern number 3. As always, let me know what you thought about it in the comments, and stay tuned because we have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Will Naruto and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles be able to defeat this latest version of the Shredder? Let's find out in the last issue of the crossover Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Naruto. Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Naruto number 4. This is the last issue of this miniseries, which I really have been enjoying. This is written by Caleb Goldner, with art by Henry Presetia, colors by Raul Angulo, letters by Ed Dukeshire. In this issue, IDW and Viz Media present the Shinobi Showdown of Your Dreams in this action-packed crossover finale. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Team 7 have defeated the Foot Clan's mutated forces, but the battle is far from over. Using the power of the ooze, Uroku Saki has abandoned his humanity and transformed himself into a monstrous shredder. As he seeks revenge against Big Apple Village, it's up to our heroes to end Shredder's path of destruction and challenge the cycle of hatred consuming him. The fight you've been waiting for is finally here. Naruto versus the Shredder. Yeah, this issue just really works because it's all out battle, right? There is no more storytelling, there's no more confrontation, there's no more building this world. We're just going in all out. And I think the thing that makes this crossover work, and I will say this crossover definitely is geared for fans of both TMNT and Naruto, because we come in with so much knowledge of who these characters are supposed to be, and Caleb and the team just kind of distill the essence of that into these 4 issues, and it really works in a really fun crossover battle. I'm not expecting all these things to make sense or even have a long-term impact in any kind of continuity, because that's not what a crossover is all about. A crossover is all about just having fun and seeing what would happen in these cases. I think the design of the Shredder is really cool, but also the way that the characters, Team 7, and the way that the turtles attack and combine their powers to take Shredder down, to take this menace down. It really, really works. So yeah, I had a great time with this. I picked this up on my shop. I'm still looking for the original Jorge Jimenez variant, as well as getting those hardcover issues. I usually buy them after the issue goes live. So IDW and Viz have been doing such a cool job putting this project together that I really have been enjoying it. Yeah, I mean, and I think that one of the cool things is that Presedia, whenever it comes to the art, like, he's never trying to mimic a specific style. He's never going for like this has to look like the original manga. He's just trying to make sure to capture what the characters really would look like. It's a bit of a combination between comics and manga that just really works, and it finds that nice middle ground. Everything looks like it should, even though it doesn't look exactly like like it normally does, right? Especially the turtles. Obviously, they have a lot of different artists, but Naruto has a very distinct style. So I love that. I love the character design updates for everyone. Like I said, the combinations of attacks, and then of course the resolution is just very, very endearing. So I'm really glad that this came together so well. I hope that we are able to cross over maybe some other manga with some comics, and just have some really fun doing kind of crazy things, and also maybe introduce different different types of people to things that maybe they wouldn't have read. Maybe some other people wouldn't have read the Turtles, but they love Naruto, so they picked this up. Or maybe some people wouldn't have read Naruto, but they picked up this because they love the Turtles. So yeah, I think it all really works out. Uh, it just really fun to see all these ninja. It really helps that they're all ninja, so they all kind of have a very, they have a through line throughout the whole story. So if you check this out, let me know what you thought of issue 4. Let me know what you thought of the series as a whole. And stay tuned because we'll talk more about this. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Let me know what other manga should cross over with comics. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Bye bye. The Justice League will have to face off against Godzilla and King Kong one more time in this sequel to the great, great event that happened last year. Let's talk about Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong 2, issue number 1. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we'll be doing a review for Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong 2, number 1. That's a mouthful, very confusing, but in simplest terms, this is the continuation or the sequel to the original Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. Like I said, quite a mouthful, but this is written by Brian Buccellato with art by Christian Deuce, Luis Guerrero on colors, and then Tyler Smith on letters. In this issue, the Justice League returns to Legendary Earth in the aftermath of last year's Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong crossover. Task Force X launches a plan to develop a hybrid Titan when Amanda Waller, that Amanda Waller can control, to guard against future Titan attacks on our Earth. To stop Task Force X, the Justice League travels to the Legendary Earth and must face the dangers of Hollow Earth, Kong Godzilla, the King of the Monsters. Yeah, this was, I mean, in the last crossover, all the Titans came to the DC Earth, or at least a version of it. In this one, it is completely different. I love that in the first few panels we get to see just some. In the first few pages, we get to see some panels from the previous series, which is also done by the same artist. So that must have been really fun to kind of reinsert their work into this. I think Brian Buccellato tells such a fun story here with this crossover. Bringing in Task Force S, the Suicide Squad, really adds another layer because they are not what you would. I wouldn't send out the Suicide Squad to take out to take out on Godzilla or Kong or any of these Titans as much as I would send the Thunderbolts out to take on the Sentry. But here we are. You can make stories happen. You can make these stories fun. And I love the idea here. In this issue, we also pick up with Barry finally marrying, and he's finally getting married. And it's really fun to see the subtleties of how this wedding is approached in this world Barry hasn't told Iris his secret identity. So, of course, they got to kind of play around that. But it's really fun. It's really fun to see who gets invited to the wedding, who doesn't. But then, of course, shenanigans ensue, and the Justice League has to skedaddle. And I think Amanda Waller is such a formidable opponent, but there may be even somebody more formidable lurking in the shadows, somebody that may even want to take the power from Waller. So we'll have to stay tuned to find out. We get to see a giant version of King Shark because, of course, he is the closest thing to a Titan that the Suicide Squad has. And of course, we get to see them go against Godzilla. So, can the Justice League survive in Skull Island? While what is Godzilla gonna do when he has to face off against a giant King Shark? Really fun stuff. I love this. This is a great issue, and I think that I feel like DC did a little bit better of a crossover than Marvel did with Godzilla. I don't know if I think they might be different Godzillas as well because this is the this is the movie version from the legendary movies, whereas I feel like the other one was more of the original Godzilla. So maybe that has something to do with it. Either way, this works. It's just really fun to throw all your toys into the same sandbox and play with them for a little while, and then maybe separate them once we're done here. So, yeah, make sure to pick this up. I can't wait to go to my shop and actually pick it up. Thanks to DC Comics for letting me read this ahead of time. So, if you check this issue out, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Who would win in a showdown between the Ghost Rider and Galactus? Well, let's find out in Ghost Rider versus Galactus #1 for Marvel Comics. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we're going to be doing a review for Ghost Rider versus Galactus #1. This is another one of the series of one-shots written by Michael J. Straczynski, who is bringing a few of these character combinations. This is the penultimate issue of that, so we only have one more. But let's talk about the rest of the creative team. As I mentioned, J. Michael Straczynski is the writer on this, with art by Juan Ferreira, who you can also see his work in the TMNT new book from IDW, and letters by Travis Lanham. Uh, in this issue, the Devourer of Worlds battles the spirit of vengeance. Galactus roams the cosmos in search of sustenance as he extracts from thriving planets, leaving them as dying husk. Ghost Rider Johnny Blaze punishes souls who are deemed worthy of vengeance. What happens when these two powers collide? Find out in this issue. This one is, first of all, it looks fantastic. Ferreira's art really captures this. There's a 70s vibe on this one that they were trying to I mean, that's the setting of the story and that's what they were trying to capture, and I think Ferreira really nails it when it comes down to the designs. I love the way that he draws the Thing, because the Thing for some reason is hanging out with Johnny Blaze the Ghost Rider, and of course shenanigans begin to ensue, and that is when the Thing asks or tasks Johnny with, like, hey, can you maybe take care of Galactus, right? Because who would be the ultimate person to receive the penance there, to receive the vengeance for everything that they've done, than a being that's destroyed so many planets by consuming them. So Galactus is almost the perfect victim or the perfect person for Johnny Blaze to go after, but of course it's not going to be that easy. We get some really cool, very high concept stuff. But I think overall, where this book succeeds to me is that J. Michael Straczynski injects a lot of humor into the story. There's a lot of really cool ideas and really cool concepts, but this book is very out of, like, it's just bonkers from the beginning, from the get-go. The premise itself, this type of confrontation, and then Ferreira, when we get to those more high-level concepts, when we get to almost a retelling of the history of Galactus, he changes up his style from what we were seeing earlier on Earth. So I think Ferreira shows how versatile he can be. He redesigns a really cool Johnny Blaze for this one, because you can't just fight, Galactus is a gigantic, enormous being, so you can't just fight him head to head. But Johnny always thinks of something. This spirit of vengeance always thinks of something. So this one's really great. I can't wait to actually go pick up the physical copy at my shop. I really have been enjoying these. I think I might have skipped one or two, just making a video, because they didn't make it to the top of what I was reading that week. But this one really nailed it. So usually the reviews that I make is like some of my favorite stuff throughout the week. And this one is definitely deserving of that spot this week. So if you have been reading these one shots, let me know which one's your favorite, or let me know what other crazy kooky combinations would you like to see. I think Rocket Raccoon and Doctor Doom was a really fun one, and just very unexpected combination of characters. So if you have another suggestion, let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned because we have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Can the absolute Superman be killed? Let's find out in issue 8 of Absolute Superman. Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Absolute Superman number 8. This is the beginning of a new arc. This is written by Jason Aaron with art by Rafa Sandoval, colors by Ulises Arreola, letters by Becca Carey. In this issue, the next big arc of this red hot series begins as Superman finds himself caught between the opposing forces of the nefarious Lazarus Corp, who we find out who the leader is, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it, and the mysterious Omega Man. But Kal-El just wants to be left alone in the only place in the planet where he's ever felt safe, a little place called Smallville. Yeah, I mean this kicking off in New York after the Brainiac issue that we got last time, and after the ending of everything that we have learned about Krypton, we finally spend the whole issue on Earth in the present. There's a lot of forces that are now after Kal-El, after everything that he's been interfering a lot with a lot of events, right? Whether it be with the Omega Man, with the Lazarus Corps, with the Peacemakers, like it doesn't matter. He's been interfering a lot, but how far can he take this? And has somebody finally figured out his vulnerability? We saw what Brainiac was cooking in the last issue, so this is really cool. I think Rafa Sandoval does such a good job of showing us this like really fierce battle, really cool designs of these new characters, because they may not be completely new, but they are new to this world. And I think that there's some really interesting iterations. The way that Superman's armor kind of switches around, that's really cool. We get to see Christopher Smith, the original Peacemaker, come back now as this monster, this puppet for Brainiac. And then, of course, we get to learn more about the head of the Lazarus Corps, which we found out was Ra's al Ghul, right? Which makes perfect sense once you think about it. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying this series. I think that there's still a lot. We know Jimmy here is very different. We know Lois is very different, but everything that Jason Aaron's doing, it just has it adds a really fun twist, I think, when it comes down to it. And I'm very excited to see where all this goes from here. So if you're reading this series, let me know which variant you picked up. This is the original cover, but also let me know what you think about this so far. I would say this is not the best place to jump in because you definitely need to learn a little bit about the series. But if you stop reading, make sure to catch up, and because a new arc, just really setting things up. I believe the first collected issues also out today. I haven't gone to my other shop where they would have more stuff like that. So yeah, but either way, I'm very excited. So let me know what you think about this book so far. Let me know what other ideas or what other characters you want to see brought into this absolute world. I have a few things that I think they should bring, but I don't want to jinx it. So as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned because we have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. What happens when an angel and a human have a son? Let's find out in Be Not Afraid number 1 from Boom Studios. So let's talk about that. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we'll be doing a review for Be Not Afraid number 1. This is a new book from Boom Studios, written by Jude Ellison Doyle, illustrated by Lisandro Esteren, colors by Francesco Segala with assistance by Gloria Martinelli, letters by Simon Boland. Be Not Afraid was created by Jude Ellison Doyle and Lisandro Esteren. So it's a really cool creator-owned book from Boom Studios. Very dark in tone, Really interesting premise. I did not know what was going on before. I didn't read a synopsis or anything before going into this book, but man, oh man, the book really tells you everything that you need to know. So let me give you a quick synopsis though from what Boom has provided. In this book, Cora Reams lived the isolated life of a simple farm girl until one fateful summer day, prophetic visions brought her a visitor that made of pure light, an angel. In the aftermath, Cora gave birth to a child, a Nephilim, the offspring of an angel and a human woman, seemingly imbued with evil itself. 17 years later, that child's cherubic appearance can no longer hide his monstrous nature. Frogs boil in their skins as he passes, crops rot, and the townspeople live in fear, knowing that the atrocities that follow behind him. Now, on the eve of his 18th birthday, Korra receives a new vision. Heaven itself has called upon her to destroy the abomination born of her own flesh and blood. Be Not Afraid is a breathtaking new series, equal parts feminist rage and folk horror. This descent into hell itself is fueled by the mythological underpinnings of American evangelical tradition, presenting brutal cosmic horror through the lens of a Southern Gothic, a truly otherworldly journey that cannot be missed. This book really, really works, but I think what gives this book the atmosphere and the feel of it is Lisandro's art. It's this almost semi-painterly art style. It's very dark. There's not a lot of light. There's not a lot of details, but there's just a lot of really interesting expressions. The shadows, the shapes, everything feels a little distorted. Everything feels a little bit off, even as the appearance of the characters that we're following changes. Like it's super intense. It's just a very dark and gloomy book with some really messed up things that keep happening. But I think the idea that this evil incarnate can be taken down or can be destroyed, it's something very interesting. I think the story itself, like I said, I knew exactly what was going on, even though I hadn't read the synopsis. I hadn't read anything about this book. So the story itself, I think Ellison does a really good job at just presenting a very straightforward story that then starts to become like it just really builds on itself to get you to that level. I feel like I'm gonna check out issue number 2 to see if I want to keep reading this on a monthly basis or if I want to wait for all the issues to be out. I expect this to be a mini series, but I'm not really sure. Either way, I had a really, really good time. This was something after reading all the superhero books for this week. This was something really fun to kind of take on a little detour. So I'm very excited and I'm glad to have read this. So if you have checked Be Not Afraid #1 from Boom Studios, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Let me know about some other comic books that give you the feelings of like the creeps or like just something that feels really wrong, something that feels very unusual. All that stuff. I love the Hello Darkness anthology that Boom's been doing. So I think that this could have been a short story that really got expanded. It's something that could have fit very, very well in that anthology. But I'm glad this is more of an expanded story because there's definitely a lot to dig into here. So if you have checked this out, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned because we have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.